Most athletes say they believe in themselves, but few actually hold that belief when the going gets tough. I coach pro athletes around the world on the mental game, and I've seen the same things again and again. The ones who develop real unshakable self-belief, they understand that believing in yourself is, like everything else in sport, a skill. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 7 laws of unshakable self-belief, the ones that almost no athlete is ever taught, so you can properly build this skill and start performing like the athlete you're destined to become. So let's get started. So in May 2025, Carlos Alcaraz did something truly incredible in the French Open final. He was down 2 sets and then later faced 3 championship points against Yannick Sinner. Most athletes in that moment would have already given up and just accepted it wasn't their day. But Alcaraz didn't just hold on, he came back and won the entire title. That's what separates the truly elite from most athletes. That belief is proven when you're losing. Because belief before a match starts, that's easy. Everyone has it then. The nerves, the hype, the adrenaline, they all feed belief. And also when you're winning mid-match, confidence just comes naturally. But when it looks like the whole thing is slipping away, that's when belief really shows its true colors. Most athletes don't have belief that deep. They believe when it's comfortable or convenient. But deep, unshakable self-belief, well, that's a rare muscle that grows when you're on the edge, when you're losing, or when it seems impossible to come back. So ask yourself, how strong is your belief when the scoreboard is against you? When the crowd is quiet and your mind is screaming to quit? That's the real test. Because the version of you who keeps fighting at your lowest moments, that's the version who will break through and win championships, not just games. So next up, let's talk about Gabby Thomas. Before becoming the 200-meter Olympic champion at Paris 2024, she did something powerful. She wrote, "I will be Olympic champion" over 500 times in her training journal. Not "I hope I win" or "I feel like I could," but a firm, decisive statement. I will be Olympic champion. The law at play here is that belief isn't a feeling, it's a decision. A feeling like "I think I can win" or "I feel confident today" isn't fully committed. Feelings are temporary and uncertain. They can change with a bad warm-up, a tough opponent, or even a random thought. But a decision, that's commitment. Saying "I will win" means you're not just hoping or wishing. You're choosing to do everything in your power to make it happen. You're taking ownership of the outcome. Now look, deciding with belief doesn't guarantee victory always. Gabby Thomas could have still lost that race. So many things have to align perfectly on the day for an athlete in any sport. So deciding to believe with conviction isn't a magic spell, but it is a mindset that maximizes your chances by just making you fully accountable and focused. It pushes you to prepare better, fight harder, and stay in control of what you can control. Because when you rely on feelings, you give some of that power away to chance and circumstance. You're still kind of taking a "let's see what happens" approach to the performance. But when you make a decision to believe, even in times of fear or doubt, you firmly grab the steering wheel of your performance. And that decision is the absolute foundation of unshakable self-belief. But let's be honest, every athlete has days when their belief wobbles. Training feels tough, performances dip, and suddenly that unshakable confidence that you thought you had starts to crack. And this is completely normal. Belief isn't always a steady flame. Sometimes it just flickers. But here's the secret. You don't have to build belief entirely on your own. You can borrow it. From a coach, from a mentor, a teammate, anyone who believes in you when you can't believe in yourself. Take the 2005 Champions League final as an example. Liverpool were 3-0 down to AC Milan at halftime. Most teams would have accepted defeat, but Steven Gerrard decided to do something bold. After manager Rafa Benitez gave his halftime speech, Gerrard asked for all the staff to leave the changing rooms so he could be alone with the players. And he said to them that he was a Liverpool kid, always had been, and didn't want to see the club humiliated. He told his teammates that if we score in the first 15 minutes, we will win the game. And this wasn't empty talk. Gerrard scored that first goal 9 minutes into the second half, sparking one of the greatest comebacks in football history. But it all started with that belief he gave the team. Belief they borrowed from their captain when their own was running thin. So when your belief fades, remember, it's okay to lean on others who believe in you. That borrowed belief can become the foundation that you need to rebuild your own. Now look, we've talked a lot about those shiny inspirational moments. Gerrard rallying his team, Gabby Thomas with the pre-race mantra, and Alcaraz clawing his way back from near guaranteed defeat. And yeah, belief does indeed shine brightest in those bold, high-pressure moments, no doubt. But here's the thing, that kind of unshakable self-belief doesn't come from those moments alone. It's built in the boredom, in the countless hours of repetition, preparation, and grinding away when no one else is watching. You can only truly believe in yourself if you've done the work in the shadows. Take Tom Brady as an example. 2 weeks before his final Super Bowl win at age 43, he did something that might sound boring, but was absolutely critical. He watched film of the Kansas City Chiefs non-stop. For 2 weeks straight, Brady studied every move, every pattern, every play. He said it was like having the answers to a test before walking into the exam. That detailed preparation gave him complete confidence, a deep knowing of what was coming. And guess what? He not only won that Super Bowl, but also took home the MVP award. the oldest player ever to do so. That belief, it wasn't born on game day. It was forged in the quiet, tedious hours of preparation when most athletes would rather be anywhere else. So if you want unshakable self-belief, don't just chase the spotlight moments. Build it in the boredom. Show up when it's dull, grind when it's quiet, because that's where true belief takes root. Next up, let's talk about some of the things that can easily destroy self-belief. Because most athletes have this habit of replaying their worst moments on a loop. That miss, that turnover, that loss. They tell themselves it's about learning, which in some cases it is, but more often than not, they're just reinforcing doubt. Because here's the reality. True self-belief requires selective memory. There's a story in Bob Roteller's book, How Champions Think, that sums this up perfectly. During an after-dinner speech, the legendary Jack Nicklaus proudly claimed that he'd never three-putted on the final hole of a tournament. Confident, absolute. But then during the Q&A, a man from the audience raised his hand. He told Nicklaus he had seen him do it. He named the tournament, he gave the year, and he called him out publicly. Nicklaus didn't blink. He doubled down. He said, no, I've never three-putted the last hole of a tournament. Was he mistaken? Maybe. But that's not the point. Nicklaus understood something most athletes don't. There's no value whatsoever in feeding your subconscious memories of failure. Replaying your mistakes doesn't make you tougher. It just erodes your confidence inch by inch. Instead, he chose to remember what served him. The clutch putts, the closing rounds, the moments where he came through. Selective memory isn't denial, it's discipline. It's the act of editing your mental highlight reel to fuel belief, not doubt. So ask yourself, what are you choosing to remember? And is it helping you or hurting you? So look, we've seen that a lot of belief comes down to what you do. But what's also important to know is that belief really is also about who you are. Because belief is cemented through identity. Nobody understood this better than Kobe Bryant. At one point in his career, Kobe was struggling. Off-court issues, public criticism, mental weight, and so he needed something deeper than just getting his confidence back. So he created the Black Mamba, an alter ego, a different identity, one that didn't carry the emotional baggage, one that didn't flinch, one that always believed. He said the Mamba doesn't feel fear, the Mamba doesn't worry about pressure, the Mamba just executes. And that identity gave him a level of belief that was nearly impossible to shake, because it wasn't just based on how he felt that day. It was his core true self when competing. That's the deeper shift. You don't build belief by waiting to feel good. You build it by choosing an identity that you step into every single performance, especially under pressure. Are you the athlete who doubts or the one who delivers? Are you the one who fades when things go wrong, or are you the one who takes control? When belief becomes your identity, your performances change. Your decisions change, your standards change, and so too do your results. Okay, so next up, I want to share an unfortunate truth. Every single thing that we've covered so far on belief will not work for you unless you fully internalize and work on this final law. Because you can have all the belief in the world, do and be everything that we've discussed, but still not perform to the levels that you want to. The reality is this: for most athletes, you don't need more belief, you need less self-sabotage. Look at it this way. Imagine you have a bucket and you're pouring water into it. That water represents belief. You're filling it up day by day with everything that we've run through. But there's just one problem. Your bucket has a ton of holes in it. And what are those holes? Well, they're self-sabotage. Negative self-talk, unrealistic expectations, endless comparison, trying to be perfect, letting one mistake spiral into 5. If you don't plug those holes, it doesn't matter how much self-belief you pour into your bucket. It's just going to keep leaking. And look, you don't need to become this superhuman who never doubts themselves. You just need to stop doing things that actively destroy your belief. Things like quiet your inner critic, learn to bounce back instead of break down, or choose progress over perfection. When you do that, you don't have to work so hard to feel confident. It starts to flow again. Your belief stays topped up for much longer, and you don't need to frantically work on building it after every setback. So yes, without question, self-belief is a skill, but sometimes the biggest progress comes from not building more of it, but removing things that are in the way of it. And if you want to learn how to actually quiet that inner critic and stop those spirals of doubt, then watch this video next.